Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm Brother Xavier. You're on my channel, Living Life Without Sight. And I have four powerful, dynamic people on this panel today. They are the brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam who has donated their kidney. We want to talk about why, what was the motive, how they're doing, and how did the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's example inspire them to do such a noble act. First, we're going to introduce our guests. We're going to start with Sister Nadira. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. How are you this evening?
I'm wonderful. All praise due to Allah. So let's just give a little background about yourself and, you know, just bring everyone up to speed about your journey, so to speak.
Okay.
You know, just a little synopsis about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Sister Nadira Muhammad. I am originally from New York City, born and raised in New York City. I am the daughter of Sister Captain Emeritus Karima Muhammad and Brother Abdullah Muhammad, and they are now residing out in Atlanta, Georgia. I was born and raised in the Nation of Islam, and I am now located in Detroit, Michigan. And I believe it was May of 2014, that is when I started my kidney transplant journey. I am an educator out here for Detroit Public Schools, and I come in contact with a lot of students. And one day, one of my coworkers was telling me about one of my students that had written a book. And so because I'm an avid reader, I said, oh, really? She wrote a book? I would like to read it. And so the student was there that day. So she asked her to go get her book, and her name was Asia. So Asia went to go get her book, brought it back to my gym office. And it was a book about her journey to find a kidney donor. And so I was intrigued because on my license, I am an organ donor. And so I said that whenever I return to Allah, I would like my organs to be donated, because I had no knowledge of being a living donor of any type whatsoever. And so after I talked to her and read the book, I said, you know what? I said, I'll do it. It was just that simple. I said, I'll do it.
Wow.
And so she said, really? And I said, yes. I said, what do I have to do? And so she gave me a number to call, and it was the ball started rolling from there. It was just that simple. No hesitation. I said, I'll do it, no problem.
Wow.
And then, long story short,
yes, ma'am.
In December of that same year, I believe it was December the 14th, I donated my kidney to her, and I was off of work for about six weeks, and then back to work, and I've been fine ever since.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
But I do want to say, you mentioned sacrifice, and sacrifice means long suffering. And for me, I didn't see this as a sacrifice at all. It was a blessing. So I never saw this as something that was a strain on me. My only concern was I did not want to go through the whole process just to find out that I could not donate to her after I said I would. So that was my biggest concern. So once all of those, all the tests were passed and I was cleared to go, I was A-okay. So it was not a sacrifice, in my opinion. It was a blessing.
All praise due to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much. The powerful testimony. Yes, ma'am. Sister Dawn.
Yes, sir.
Give your testimony.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sister Dawn Muhammad, Dawn D. Muhammad. There's several of us in Atlanta. I'm originally from South Carolina. Here in Atlanta, I've lived here since 1998. I came into the nation in 1996 here in Atlanta. I serve as an information and technology architect with the city of Atlanta at the world's busiest airport, so it keeps me busy. But in 2015, my dad started feeling a little weird, not really understanding what was going on with his body. He's diabetic, but had been off of diabetic medication for years, for about 20 years. So we didn't know what was going on. He's, eating right and exercising and just really didn't know what was going on. My parents have sacrificed so much for me, putting me through college and everything. So when we sat down with the doctors in 2016 and found out that my dad's had stage 4 kidney failure, the doctors looked at me and my sister and said, you all have to do something. Your dad cannot wait to have a deceased donor, a cadaver donor. He needs a donor. Your dad is up in age, he's in his 70s. And if you all do not have a living donor for him before he reaches age 75 or 80, then we can't put him on a donation list, a recipient list. The recipient list is about 8 years long in the state of Georgia. I think in Alabama it's 10. I think in South Carolina it was 12. The list is so long that by the time it would take him to get a deceased cadaver donor, he would not be eligible because of his age.
Yes, ma'am.
So at that point, I was a size 22 and could not be eligible to donate. And I looked at myself and said, MGT girl, you've got to lose weight.
Yes, ma'am.
Help your dad. And that's the journey that I took. In late December 2016, I went on a journey to lose weight, secretively not telling anyone why I was losing weight. People thought I was sick. People thought that, something must be going on in my life. I didn't tell anyone, not even my family, about why I was losing weight. And eventually the goal was to lose weight, to be able to be eligible to donate a kidney to my father. And just as Sister Nadira stated, my concern was this going to be able to happen? So that journey was with me and a lot. There was prayer, there was crying with my trainer. How am I going to do this? Eating one meal a day when sometimes I was just used to eating emotionally. So when I took that journey with a lot, just myself and a lot, communicating with him as to what I wanted to do, what I needed to do, the weight just started falling off. Eating to live instead of living to eat really became a journny for me. And I went from 22 to a size 12 on a good day, and 14, which in sister girl terms, that's pretty good.
Yes, ma'am.
I started running 5Ks like Sister Nadira, and I was running like, okay, what am I doing? And he said to me one day, I can't do it anymore. He started dialysis, and it was just really tough on him in 2016. So by the time I was able to, in 2018, I lost enough weight and started taking some tests. I communicated with the transplant center here in Atlanta at Piedmont Hospital and talked to them, and they gave me the series of steps I needed to take. I talked to my dad and said, hey, look, something's coming in the mail. I need you to take this test and just don't ask any questions. Just please, sir, do it. And he did. And I wrote a letter to him with a card and shared it with the family and stated why I had been losing weight for 2.5 years.
Wow.
It was a beautiful journey.
Yes.
So, and I can agree with what Sister Nadira said. The sacrifice for me, for someone who has given me life, that wasn't a thought as to whether or not it was going to be necessary for me to do it. That wasn't a thought. That's unconditional love. The minister teaches us on that. And I really just, it was not a hesitancy at all for me to be able to give life to someone who gave me life. So before I get emotional, that's my story.
Okay. We got a long show.
I've done that. I did that on Fox 5.
Yes,
I did that on Good Morning America. I am not getting emotional anymore. So thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, praise the Lord. Thank you, ma'am.
Praise
MC JX. You up to bat.
Yes, sir. Well, beginning all things in the name of Allah, the beneficent and merciful. Thank you, Brother Xavier, for the opportunity once again to bear witness to the love that we have in our nation.
Yes.
Got my ex in 1981. Brother Abdul Hafiz Muhammad, and I was on the same line as Brother Hafiz. We recited the same day. We go way back. Brother Xavier and I, right, we recited in front of Brother Alpha, may Allah be pleased with him as well. And Brother Xavier, you and I go way back before I was even in the nation. I knew you and your family from Brooklyn, down the block from me on Eastern Parkway. And I used
That's
to
right. Yes, sir.
with your brother Kenneth. May Allah be pleased with him as well.
Yes.
And your family has always been an example in the neighborhood, as we should. So,
Praise be to
as
Allah.
I said, I got my ex in 1981, and from there we developed a family tie. Brother Xavier, you know what I'm talking about. We
Yes, sir.
Muhammad Mosque number 77C. It under the auspices of our great brother Abdul Kareem Muhammad, and of course his captain, brother Alpha Farrakhan Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with him.
Yes, sir.
We trained together, we ate together, we soldiered together, we did everything as a unit. The nation wasn't as large as it is today. So everyone basically from coast to coast knew one another. We knew one
Right.
another on a first name basis almost. And the love that was instilled in us. You know, they say when like you have the baby geese, they get imprinted on the mother, or if the mother's not there, they get imprinted on whatever's there as a surrogate.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
I was imprinted with the love of Brother Abdul Kareem Muhammad, the love that he put in us.
That's right.
It transcended my own personal life, and I became a member of the world's greatest organization, which is the FOI. And
Yes, sir.
we really believed in half of your brother's bowl of bean soup belongs to you.
Right.
Right.
I said bean soup because we still working on the bean pie part. You know, we give you a third, but you may not get the
Right,
whole
right.
half of the bean pie. But in truth, that in honesty, there is nothing that one of us could ask for within reason and in righteousness that the others could not get. So my journey with Brother Kenneth, and Brother Kenneth is a wonderful brother. I wish he was here this evening.
Yes.
Wonderful brother. He was always known as like a curmudgeon, and always the type of brother that would be on the other brothers to get things right. Brother always loved to
Right.
drill, and if we were drilling in a way that he don't think, we would argue. We would drill, but then we would argue most of the night away, trying to make sure that his way was the right way or our way was the right way. But either way, Brother Kenneth was involved.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
I'm trying to keep it on the straight path, bro. But just knowing that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just
Yes,
kidding.
sir. I had gotten the news from Brother Kenneth's physical brother, Brother Stephen, who was my roommate when I was in college. Told me his brother was in the hospital. Make a long story short, he was in the hospital, Mercy Hospital, out on Long Island. And I was angry with Brother Stephen that evening because he didn't tell me Brother Kenneth went into the hospital. I said, man, why didn't you tell me he was in the hospital? So I went to the hospital just to see my brother. Didn't know what the condition was, what the cause was. I'm sitting on the edge of this bed and we're talking, and he begins to tell me that his kidneys had failed. I know that he was not a diabetic. He had issues with lupus
Right.
over the course of years, and it attacked certain organs of his body different times. But this time it happened to attack his kidney. And I told him at his bedside that night when I went to visit him in the hospital, I said, brother, if you need a kidney, I'll give you a kidney. Just said it straight out like that. He looked at me and said, no, brother. He said, that's too much to ask. And I'm like, brother, it's nothing that if I know that can help you, that if I could do it, I would not do it for you. I mean, but it was not that it was Brother Kenneth, it was that it was one of my brothers. Brother Xavier, you know what I'm talking about. It was just whatever
Yes, sir.
needed. It was just a matter of course. There was no heroism involved. It was just a matter of course that we helped. Sister Nadira, you know what I'm talking about. This is the way it is. It's just
Right.
not a question of this is something that's superhuman. It's something that's human. It's the right thing to do. It's the way we were brought up in the nation. As young men, I came in the nation, I was 17 years old. During my first year out of high school into college. And we grew up together. I mean, we literally became men together inside the umbrella, inside of the womb of Mosque number 7. And it's nothing that my brothers, even to this very day, and you notice the fact that if you need it, I got you. And
Yes, sir.
Brother Kenneth needed it. It just so happened that my wife got her new job. She just got a new job working in SUNY Downstate in the transplant department. So I knew that it was possible. And it must have been about 6 months prior to my brother Kenneth going in the hospital. So I knew about the process, and I told brother Kenneth, said, don't worry, we'll go through it. Too much to ask. No, brother. No, sir. I had to call him later after he was discharged from the hospital. I was like, bro, you know I'm serious, right? No, but and I said, go get tested, and I'm gonna go get tested too. We brought Stephen, his physical brother, brother Eric, his physical brother, his other brother. We all went down and got tested together. And it just so happened, and this is the crazy part. Brother Kenneth grew up in one section of Brooklyn. I grew up in another section of Brooklyn. But we had what's called an antigen match. They have to do, along with a regular blood test, they do an antigen match. And Brother Kenneth and I shared a 2 antigen match, which was closer than some family members. And we grew up on different sides of Brooklyn. It was almost, it was Allah's doing that I was healthy enough and I was willing to be there when my brother needed me. And that's all they wrote. They had I was working at a place that I was a manager at that time. So it wasn't as though I was salaried. So they could not tell me what, you can't do it because of your time on the job, like Sister Nadira, 6 weeks out. And some of them, of course, the higher echelon in the company didn't want me to do it. It wasn't because they didn't love Brother Kenneth, that they didn't care about me. They were worried about their work. And I know that. But that's okay. Well, they would try to discourage me, but they don't run my life. I run my life by God.
Right.
So
that's right.
I took the 6 weeks, and we went through, and I pray we get to this, that it's not just going in, they cutting you open and you're leaving. You have to, as Sister Dawn said, you have to prepare yourself. You have to be prepared. You have to go through rigorous testing in order to be qualified to donate. And in most cases, there's more people that are disqualified than qualified based on the way that we live our lives, based on the way that we eat, based on the way that we move around. We're ineligible instead of being eligible. And I'm just grateful for the fact that the program of How to Eat to Live and living kind of smart, that I was eligible to donate without much problem. So I'm going to leave it right there for now. I'm sure we get into some more in a bit, bro. But thank you again for this opportunity.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Jason. Yes, sir. And last but not least, our Brother Lamont.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
The same, of course, is befitting that we begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. We bear witness that he came to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. We bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad indeed is the exalted Christ, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their Messiah among us.
That's right.
Without them, neither of us would be here. So
that's right.
Absolutely have to begin in their holy and righteous names. I'm originally from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And you're probably thinking right now, where is Harrisburg? Most people are like, oh, Philly. Oh, I know where Philly is, but I never heard of Harrisburg. So I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I came to Atlanta directly after high school and went to Morris Brown College, which was 1990. And my coming to Atlanta, Georgia, I had 2 purposes, and that was first, to go to college, and second, which is probably also first, which is to learn more about this man Farrakhan. And I figured if Atlanta was all that they said it was during that time, as being the Black Mecca, they got to know about Farrakhan. And sure enough, I hit the jackpot and was able to come in contact with brothers on the campus and around the campus. And I was able to, by Allah's grace, become registered within a year's time, maybe a little less, at Muhammad Mosque number 15.
Yes,
so
sir.
That was my intro to Atlanta, Georgia. And I've been here pretty much ever since, kind of back and forth, but for the most part here in Atlanta, Georgia ever since. We've been registered since, by Allah's grace. Well, my testimony is such that I was at work, and while at work, I get a phone call from my beloved wife, and she typically doesn't call me while at work. So anytime she does call, of course, I'll answer. And when I did answer this time, she was, I don't want to say, she wasn't in a panic mode or anything like that, but I could tell it was a different nature in the call. And she said, look, listen, Sister Lisa just sent out an email I just got. And this email says that her husband needs a kidney. It's a dire, dire need. And my wife, she was really ready to put herself on the front line, but she had some underlying conditions. And so she was pretty much ineligible. So she knew that she could call me and put it before me and pretty much knew what I would say. And I said, it was a no-brainer for me. It was like, tell her we'll do it. I'm on it. Let's do it. Let's go right ahead and let's just do it. And it wasn't a second guess. It wasn't, let me think about it. It wasn't, let me wait till I get home and we can talk about it. It wasn't, well, what did it say? Or how? It was none of that. It was, let's do it. Get all the particulars and let her know we're going to go ahead and do it. And it was just as simple as that. And much like Brother Jason, that's what we're taught and trained. That's how we're taught. And we're taught. And at the time, I really didn't know Brother Xavier that well. It's not like we had the history of growing up together. We knew each other at the mosque, of course, but we didn't have a long history of knowing one another. But what I did know is that he's a believer in Allah, the Christ, and the Messiah. And that's all I needed. That's all I needed. And so we proceeded, and that was it. I was excited. I was ready. I didn't have any reservations. I wasn't fearful or wasn't scared or anything of that nature. And I was happy to be able to be of service to my brother and another believer, a Black man. It was just an honor. And I know brother Xavier, he'll say, brother, you saved my life, but that's not how I look at it. I look at it as me being in that. Say again?
Now, so you broke up a little bit.
Oh, okay. I don't look at it as being in a position to have saved someone's life. It really was a position of being given life. That's how I felt, and that's how I feel. Having that opportunity to be able to be in that position, to be able to help in the manner in which I was able to help, it really gave me life. It gave me a perspective of life that I didn't have. And so it was a win-win, in truth. It was a win-win.
Yes,
so it was an honor, and it's still an honor for me. And there's days that I forget the fact that I only have one kidney. You know, I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and so I'm thankful and grateful to Allah to have had the opportunity to be there for you in the way that Allah blessed me to. And I think it's important too, with the fact that of receiving life, just like with Sister Dawn, you know, she attested to the fact that she, from her perspective, was not, you know, in her diet and her weight, so forth and so on, but the opportunity for her to do what she did for her father put her in a position now to get herself where she needed to be. And it was much the same for myself on a mental and a spiritual level and even a physical level. And so the blessing is, to me, is 360. You know, it's an exchange in that blessing. You know, so I don't want to babble on or anything like that, but I'm grateful to my wife to have such a wife as such, who would stand, you know, with me in such a decision, and to have the confidence in knowing that her husband would be willing to do such. And so that's important. That support is very, very important. And I'm grateful to Allah for her to be with me along the way as well. So I'm done. I'll let you go right ahead. I'll babble on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Lamont. Thank all of you. And
Yes,
we're gonna jump right into it. All of you talked about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
How is his example, his life, his sacrifice, and his spirit, how did that encourage you or motivate you or inspire you to do such a thing? Anyone can take the floor. The floor is open.
Yeah,
yes.
I would go on and say, because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he is the example. I mean,
Right.
His life is the example. I have been blessed to be around him, growing up and everything, and so so just to be around the example, to witness the example, and just to see how he lives his life, his family life, and how he takes care of us as a nation.
Right.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. And then
Right.
being raised by my parents, they are servant leaders, and that's what we are taught to do. We are taught to serve,
Right.
and we are put on this earth, you know, to be of service to others. And so when the opportunity came about, it was a no-brainer, because I just see myself as being a servant, you know, for Asia in her time of need. It was a no-brainer.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
But the minister
Yes,
is the example.
Yes, ma'am.
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sister Dawn?
I think Sister Nadira hit the nail on the head. As much as the minister has sacrificed for us as a nation, really this world, financially, emotionally, the things that he sacrificed that we don't even know that he goes through. I looked at it and said, how can I be as heavy as I am? I really called myself fat. As big as I was, and really represent the MGT as the minister tells us to do, and what the Master Father Muhammad has said that what we should look like as MGT. So that example, and when the minister said 1 meal a day is law, that was okay, this weight has to come off. So the examples that the minister has given us in his life, and his message of unconditional love, it was a no-brainer to sacrifice or to give that back to my father. So
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
That's a beautiful testimony, sisters. And what comes to mind in terms of his inspiration to me is showing the rest of the world that we as Black men have heart. You know, most of the time when people look at us based on media and the propaganda that they've put on us for such a long time, they make Black men to be superhuman and dumb, that we are brutes, that we have no feeling, that we are beasts of burden. You know, they brought us here to work us to death, and everybody in the entire world thinks that that's justice for us, because we don't think. And based on the way that, you know, the propaganda machine has been augmented against us as Black men, it makes it as though when something happens to us, because they think that we have no feelings, that it was justified, you know. But to bring the heart into the conversation, to bring Black male love that's not homosexual into the conversation, people start to see us as human again. And if they see Black men as human, it's kind of hard for them to witness us being shot down in the streets by police without having a tear for us, because they say, well, that could have been my son. But in most cases, we're looked at as though we are something less than human. But if we show our human side to each other, first and foremost, the rest of the world can then witness our humanity and be able to shed a tear for us when we get beat down, when we get shot down in the street, when we get murdered, and when we murder each other. We can actually say it's unjustified because that's a living, breathing human being. And that is the example that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan put in me, is to show the rest of the world we're not what you think we are.
Right.
We're something else. Take another look at us. And another look is respect.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Praise
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir.
Well, oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, there's countless things that, could be said as to how the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has given inspiration and influenced in this way. The Christians, they say, WWJD, what would Jesus do? And I always say, what WWFD, what would Farrakhan do in a particular situation?
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you something that really has always stood out to me that had maybe not a direct bearing on the decision, I guess you can say, in this manner, but something that has always stuck with me and has such a profound effect in the way of Minister Farrakhan and how he's inspired and how his perspective is of showing his love for the people. I recall, and some of you may know better than I, so I'll paraphrase. I recall him recounting the time when his house was, I guess, firebombed, and long story short, it was on fire. The children had to be gotten, and all the children had gotten out, or they got the children out, but there was something that was left in the house that he had to get, and that was the money of the believers.
Right.
Now, I got to be honest. I don't know if I would have went back in that house for that money, but because the minister had the love of the believers, he sacrificed his life to go back in that house for that money that the believers sacrificed for. And I'm thinking to myself, what manner of man is this that would do that and think so selflessly of himself and go back in a burning house to get some money that could be gotten again?
Right.
Back in the house, and he got that money that was given by the believers. Man, what manner of man is this? So that type of example, that is just one of many, that he represents. That's a great inspiration and an influence on how, for me, and I'm sure many of us should be as we look upon one another and try to serve one another. So yeah, that's for me right there.
Praise to Allah. And for the record, WWJD
is
and
Farrakhan.
WWFD is the same thing.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Just for the record.
Yes, sir.
In real short, anyone can jump in. We don't have to go in order. If you had to do it all over again, in very few words, or not just one word, if you had to do it all over again, would you?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Emphatically, yes.
Please, yes.
There's no question
Without a
about
No
that.
brainer.
No brainer.
Right. Right.
And let me say this, brother. I donated in 2005, and we're going on 16 years. And after that act, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit of abdominal pain, a little gas after the surgery, and the body goes through trauma after surgery. But when I left the hospital, my coworkers wanted to know how I was doing. And I told them, meet me at the bowling alley. And we went bowling. My wife was livid. But they were concerned about me. So we went bowling. And since then, I have been on a course of physical fitness. I'm in the dojo at least twice a week. And shout out to brother Jadi Tinchin Muhammad and TCK. And I wanted to say, Sister Nadira, brother Jadi wanted me to make sure that you heard that brother is training me, and I'm one of the elders in the dojo. And to know that physically, it has enhanced my outlook physically. I wanted to be a brother that is in his late 50s, that is in there with those 20-year-olds rocking and fighting and sparring to the degree where the kidney surgery had nothing, it's not an issue, not a question at all.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Working out on a regular basis, so I know it's the same with you.
Praise to
And I can honestly bear witness. I had never met Sister Nadira, but I remember when the minister brought her to Chicago, and talked about her journey. And so when I was considering what the doctor said as far as donating to my dad, I thought about Sister Nadira, and I'm not going to get emotional, but I did, meet her finally a couple of years ago or last year. But it was a no-brainer, and I would do it all over again. That was someone that Sister Nadira had taught. That was a student. So how could she do that and I not donate to my father who gave me life? So it was a no-brainer. I did say, oh, how would I be perceived by the Muslims? I didn't really think about that. It was this is my father. And I think this is Brother Jason mentioned being out of work and everyone being concerned. And I've been with the city for 21 years, 22 years. So it was a no-brainer. I have time to take off. It's a no-brainer. This is what's going down. So, I started running for days afterwards again, and being able to do things that, again, the doctor stated, not only did I save my father's life, I saved not just one life in him, I saved two by losing all of that weight. So I'm
That's right.
For that experience, and I would definitely do it all over again. Praise be.
Yes. Praise be to Allah.
Yeah, I would just also just add that's one of the blessings of being brought up in the nation, because you're taught how to eat to live and it's stress, of being in shape and everything. And so that is something that has been in me for a long time. And so when it came to doing the test and everything, they told me that I was in excellent health. I had no issues nothing.
Right.
Clean bill of health. And the only way that the donation would not have happened was if I said no. But my health was A1.
Yes.
No problem. And I credit that to How to Eat to Live, being brought up in the nation, and just living a healthful life.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And also, Sister Nadira, you're a marathon runner.
Oh yes, well, I ran 3 marathons, one in New York and 2 out here in Michigan. But those were just things on my bucket list. And to be honest, I ran my first marathon because my father always wanted to run a marathon. And so I ran the New York Marathon for him because he wanted to run, never did try to do it. And so I said, you know what, let me do this. And I just did it.
Yeah.
May I ask a question? Did each of you also have to go through the psychological portion of the testing?
Yes.
How did that go?
Oh, for me, I spoke to the doctor for about like a half hour, 45 minutes. She's just asking me various questions just to make sure that I was mentally, emotionally, and psychologically prepared to go through what I was about to go through. She wanted to make sure that I was doing this of my own free will. There was no ulterior motives, nothing like that. She wanted to make sure that I would be able to handle this procedure. And in my opinion, the procedure wasn't life-threatening. It wasn't going to change my life per se. And so it was just a process that they go through just to make sure that you are well physically, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically.
Right.
Brother Jason.
Yes, sir.
This is my interview, brother. You don't ask no questions. I'm just messing with you.
I apologize.
No, I'm just kidding, brother. I'm just kidding.
It made me think of my psychological forces. It was an old white doctor, and he sat across the table from me, and I guess he figured we were going to start. We were going to cross swords. And his first question was, as they asked, what was I being coerced by Brother Kenneth into donating for him? And I told him, I said, I'm the type of person that if you want something from me, you can ask it of me and I will give it freely. But I moved real close to him and I said, but nobody takes anything from me. That dude backed up. He said, okay.
See, Brother Jason, the same thing happened with the psychologist and me when he asked
Yes,
me,
ma'am.
Dad, he asked me, was I being forced or was I being coerced? And I leaned forward and I said, that's my daddy. This is gonna,
Mm,
you can write down whatever you need to have, write down, that's my father. So now,
nice.
and he
That's right.
him and his intern, they were taking notes like, okay, well,
Right.
keep moving along, but you can't,
That's-
all the questions that they asked, I made sure they understood that it was, it was really gonna happen by Allah's, if it was Allah's will, it was gonna happen.
That's right.
right.
That's right.
I
That's
apologize, Brother Xavier, but I know that was a
right.
question you, on your side, you were not privy to, but it has to be
Right, I
said
didn't know that.
There's some people that would think that, this is it's an incomplete test and that there may be something, oh, it's just a type of personality that, or a personality disorder where people have a thing called a hero syndrome, where they always have to be running into burning buildings and things. And they want to make sure that people are on the level.
On the level, right.
With us, they can find the hero syndrome, but it's real heroes. I mean, praise be to Allah. In FOI class, Brother Xavier, you can bear witness to this. In FOI class, on any given, at this time we had them on Saturday morning, you would find 2 or 3 brothers that come in class smelling like smoke. And, Brother Alpha bring them up, say these 2 brothers just ran, before they went into class, they got to class late because they ran into a burning building and pulled 3 people out. They're sitting on the sidewalk and then they decide to come to class with their final calls underneath their arms.
Wow.
This is the way we were brought up in terms of our community. We had that type and have that type of love. It's not a question of being crazy at all. It's a matter of turning up the volume on your love meter, turning it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we do.
That's
Right.
right.
That's
The
right.
way we were.
That's right. That's right.
Sure. And that's based on the example that we've been given by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Exactly.
His sacrifice, his love, he gave all to us. He died for us daily. And we only thing we can do is give back a little. We can't give back to him what he gave us.
No way.
We can just give back a little bit and show our appreciation for his sacrifice that he gave us. Let me move to another question. We talked earlier offline about how our people, Black people, are the most in need of a kidney or donation from all diabetes, lupus, high blood pressure. And we are the most underserved in this in that capacity.
Right.
What would be, each of you take 1-2 minutes to make a plea to anybody who's listening, if they were thinking about it, they're healthy enough to sacrifice or to make that noble act of kindness. What would you say to them who are just thinking, wow, I could be a blessing to somebody? What would you say, 2 minutes or less?
Wow.
Any order.
Wow. That's a good question, brother Xavier. I would just say, look, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing, you're not really losing anything, you're really gaining more so, even though physically you are, by giving of yourself, it's a kidney, but really, your life is never the same on a high note. You look at life, you appreciate life that much more. You've created a stronger bond with a person or an individual whom you may know or you may not know, so you can kind of walk through life a little lighter, and I mean, it's really a blessing, man. It just really is. And I think that, as most of us, just fear of the unknown, we fear that, something's gonna, happen, or I don't know. But I would just tell them, just, do your due diligence. Make sure you are healthy or fit enough that if you are, research, find out all that you need to find out, exhaust everything, but do it. definitely do it, you know? And, you know, just briefly, you know, as they were talking about, if, you know, the questioning and so forth and so on. I mean, the questions that I was getting was, you know, do you smoke? Do you drink? I'm like, I don't do any of that stuff. You know, how long have you known this gentleman? You know, I hadn't known him very long, and they were just like flabbergasted. Like, I mean, this dude is a unicorn. You know, he don't he don't do any of those things. You know, is someone that, you know, he it's not like a family member or anything like that. So they were pretty much flabbergasted, but they left, you know, my presence, you know, with the assurance that, man, you'll be fine. If you continue on that line, you'll be fine. And so we can ensure that in people, you know, that if you just, you know, take care of yourself, do your due diligence, you know, and have the mindset that you're not losing anything, you're gaining something, you know, just go right on ahead and push forward. I guess that's what I would say.
Yes, sir. Anyone else want to chime in, or do
I agree with Brother Lamont. In 2018, when I got tested to donate a kidney for my father, I didn't have a mentor. He didn't have a mentor. We walked into this blind. I knew Sister Nadir's story. I knew Brother Lamont, Brother Xavier's story. Knew a little bit about Brother Kenneth and Brother Jason's story. So I didn't have any mentors. And I thought about it, and I met someone. Her name is Dawn. She donated a kidney on August 31st of 2010, which was 8 years prior. So it was so many different connections. We don't believe in coincidences. And she walked into my life. She was introduced to me by a friend, and she just gave me so much advice. And so after the kidney surgery in last year, actually 2019, I applied to become a mentor for the Georgia Transplant Foundation.
Wow.
As a living kidney donor, and they accepted me in 2020, and then the pandemic, the pestilence from heaven hit and slowed down by last year. And so I'm a kidney donor mentor for Georgia Transplant Foundation. And what I tell those who are desiring to become kidney donors is to just think about your neighbor, your mother, your father, your sister, your friend, your cousin, who you could extend life for.
Right.
Possibly.
Right.
If it's not them, maybe you can convince someone else that you know who is healthy enough to do it. We as Black people, we have the worst conditions, as you mentioned, Brother Xavier. We don't qualify, but we may know someone who does qualify. So it requires patience, the patience of Job, but we can do it. And so I really honestly encourage anyone to just show that act of love, that act of kindness, to the next person, and just be patient in the process.
Yes.
anyone else want to chime in on that?
Yes, sir. Well, in 2005, after the successful donation between Brother Kenneth and myself, I also became a mentor, and I began to work. At that time, it was NIODN, which is New York Organ Donors Network. And I began to go out into the community, tabling, you know, going to different events, to the DMV, the Schaumburg, all different places where our people were likely to be. I set up a table. They would give me a backpack full of the little keychains and things like that, to encourage our people to do exactly what Brother Xavier said, because we are the most likely to be in need and the least likely to donate. And I wanted to be able to tell my story to as many of my people as would listen. And I would go on all the events that they had. And I would do it regularly. It was a part of the process, again, for something that I actually went through, and then to be able to tell my story over and over and over again. Something happened. New York Organ Donation Network, NIODN, is no longer in existence. It's now called Live On New York. And I left it alone. And the reason why I left it alone at that time is because they were not sensitive enough to our community. They had everything going on. If you wanted to have any event in the white community, they would make it. They would overwhelmingly go and bend their back to make sure that white people understood white people's issues, and they would donate. But when I would bring my concerns to them about our community, it was like a lot of times when we deal with the medical establishment, they do not have the proper sensitivity to our needs, our concerns in our community. So I left it alone and I began just telling my story to whoever would listen. Now at SUNY Downstate, I would go back and they would have classes of people that would be potential donors, and I would always leave my number, always be there to tell them if they wanted to call somebody that went through it, especially men, because I could tell them as a man what to expect after the donation and
Right.
up into it. And I couldn't tell you how many countless brothers that I had spoken to and like Sister Dawn mentored along the way and encouraged them. And the greatest thing about it is I would always say, even if it doesn't go through, the fact that you had a desire to do
Right.
it makes you a special person. It makes you
Yes.
somebody that actually
Yes.
begins to breathe humanity back into the planet. This is something that's necessary, something that's needed. People just recently started talking about the pay it forward type of mentality.
Mm.
It's not something that has been with us all the time, but all it takes is one. All it takes is, maybe let's talk about, let's say our Haitian brothers and sisters. Let's say a Haitian group gets together and speaks Creole, and they speak it together and they donate. The Haitian community is magnified in that effort because now it's somebody that looks like them, has the same background, same qualifications as them, that is able to have a living related donation experience and be able to say, it's okay, I'm all right, we all right. And I think just that energy, that love energy, it's magnified. And
Yes.
our people need to have these examples over and over and over again, how our love energy breathes life into anything, breathes life
Right.
into everything. Why do you think they always come back to our community to find out what are we up to? Because
Right.
our energy propels the planet.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
right.
the love energy that we have is enough to save the planet.
That's
Praise
right.
God. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful. See, this is one of the most important things that we can talk about, because this is something that we don't talk about. We don't talk
True.
about, especially, it's almost, I'm gonna say, it's taboo almost in our nation to talk about illness and those who are suffering.
Right.
You know, we don't talk about it. We don't acknowledge it.
Right.
And these are the things that we need to bring to the forefront to heal our nation. We can heal within our nation and then spread it broader to the Black community.
Right.
Yes, sir.
We have to put these things on the table and discuss it
Right.
and see where we can go from here. And these are the things that we just need to open up about and talk more freely about.
Yes, sir.
So that's my take on that.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Anyone else want to chime in, sisters? Do you want to chime in on anything on your heart and mind?
Yes, I would just like to say that we perish from a lack of knowledge. And so the thing is, for us to make an informed decision about anything, like everybody on the panel has said, we must do our due diligence, because once you do your own research and you find out the pros and cons of being a donor, you will find out that the positives, the pros
Right.
are, they far outweigh the cons.
Right.
And,
Right.
and we only need a half of one kidney to survive. So we have one and a half kidneys, that we really don't need.
Right.
So we only need half of one kidney
Right.
working properly to function.
Right.
So donating, that one kidney, if you're in good health, you're going to be okay.
That's
And then
right.
plus the blessings that is going to come into your life, but also the life of those connected to you. It's paying it forward. So
Right.
it's a no-brainer, because I feel that Allah gives us life every single day. Every
That's
day, it's a blessing to wake up, and be in our right minds, and to function, and to live our life. So being able to give life to somebody else, and there is no quote unquote harm to you at all,
Right.
Just 6 weeks of inconvenience, that's it, and then
That's
you're
it.
back to normal
Come on
person.
now.
It's a
Right.
no-brainer. Just go ahead and do
Right.
it.
That's right.
And then I
Praise
also
the
like
Lord.
this too, if it was your child, your mom, your dad, wouldn't you want somebody else to give that same type of love to them?
Exactly.
If you couldn't
That's
do it?
right.
Exactly.
Come on, teach, sis.
There it
Yes,
is.
ma'am.
Praise be
There
to
it
God.
is.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
we can't do is we can't take ibuprofen and Aleve and Motrin.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the
We
years.
can't
Yeah,
do
I
it.
forgot
Yeah,
about that.
we don't need that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
We
It's
can't
like,
do.
it's, it's like, it's also, it's a domino effect. The effort of giving of yourself in this manner, a kidney, it's a domino effect. Because what I thought about was, I didn't just think about Brother Xavier. I thought about Sister Lisa, and I
Yeah.
thought about their children. So the effect, of the action and the effort, it goes even beyond that particular individual. Who they're connected to, their loved ones. And I'm about to get emotional myself. I would hate to, I envisioning, the state that my beloved Sister Lisa was in, trying to get someone who would be willing to be able to put themselves at the service of her husband. I thought about my wife, just like Sister said, I would want someone to do the same. If I was in that situation, I would hate to see my wife have to be in that situation. So the effects of it, it goes beyond the individual. It affects also positively those whom they are connected with as well. And I think if we paint the picture on a broader scale as such, I think, and with people helping them to make that decision, look, come on, man, put yourself out there. If you're healthy, if you can, do it, man, do it. You'll be serving doing a great service for so many people. So yes, praise to Allah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank all of you for that. Let me ask another question. After donating the 6 weeks, now after years of time passing by, have you felt any different, or do you suffer from anything, or is any thing bother you now that after you have done the surgery? Any backlash or repercussions from that, or you're all healthy?
All healthy. I forgive, like others have said, that I gave a kidney. I forgive. I'm like, because the other day I went to the doctor for a physical, and he says, "Oh, I see you gave away a kidney." I said, "Oh yeah, I did." He said, "Which one?" I said, "I don't know, one of them." I don't know. I forgot about it. I forgot.
Right.
Wow.
I don't feel any different. By Allah's grace, I don't feel any different. I think I was off from work. I didn't go bowling. The doctor said don't even lift a purse. So I didn't lift my purse. I was good, but I don't have any issues by Allah's grace. No, I mean I just left the gym about 2 hours ago.
All right now.
So, I mean, just feeling good, just drinking a lot of water. The doctors said, the surgeon said, do exactly what you were doing to get here. Keep doing that.
That's right.
So that was one meal a day. That was drinking water.
Right.
That was staying away from sugar. That was
right.
Trying to become that diabetic who was end up needing a kidney. So I don't feel any different.
Yes, and just to give a statistic for those that are listening and maybe have trepidation about giving, it is said that if you are a kidney donor and for any reason you lose the function of your kidney, you go to the top of the list of deceased donors.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
You would receive a kidney before anyone else would. You would be at the top of the list if it was determined that kidney.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Praise to Allah.
And and statistically, and thank you so much for bringing that up, Brother Jason.
Yes, ma'am.
It's such a faux pas. It's like, how am I going to be able to afford to have surgery? And but the recipients insurance,
Insurance pays for everything.
everything.
Right.
That's right.
Everything. I didn't pay a dime. I
Me
didn't
neither.
a few days in the hospital chilling, eating food. I'm off from work, chilling. I mean, I didn't pay a dime. The visits, the 2 weeks, was it 30 days, the 60
That's
days,
right.
6 months,
Right.
1
right.
year. We just did our 2-year appointment, and the doctors were like, "Wow, didn't pay a dime." So that's
Right.
there's a lot of unknowns, there's a lot of things that people don't know. We didn't have to take all the medications that someone like Brother Xavier as a recipient had to take. I
Right.
didn't have a whole
Right.
cabinet full of
Right.
pill bottles. I maybe took some Tylenol.
Mhm.
I have 3 incisions, but that was it. We didn't
That's
a
it.
natural tattoo. It's a beautiful little tattoo.
That's right.
No
Praise
issues.
the Lord.
Praise be to Allah.
I'm glad no one's having no remorse from donating.
No.
All praise to Allah.
Not at
But
all.
we're gonna start winding down. We're gonna give some closing remarks, and we're gonna if we gotta do a part 2, all praise due to Allah. But we're gonna wind down, and everyone just give a little closing remark of anything that's on their heart and mind that they want to say on this topic.
Yes,
Well-
well, first, I would like to, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sis, please.
Oh, okay, well, first, I would like to, just thank you, Brother Xavier, for having myself and us on this, program tonight. And I do want to, give a special, shout out to my family for the support that they gave me throughout my journey, because if it was not for them, I don't know how I would have made it through, because the first 2 weeks, as Sister Dawn said, no lifting, no cooking, no cleaning, nothing. And my parents, they shut down their life for 2 weeks, came out here to Michigan, just to tend to me, hand and foot, took me to all of my appointments and everything, took care of me and made sure that my life continued on, but they're stopped so that I could make sure that I follow exactly what the doctor said. My parents made sure that, like, we ain't doing nothing, don't even try it. So I would like to thank my parents, and also the Nation of Islam, for all of the support that I received from the nation, from the minister and his family, and just the support and love that I received was just absolutely amazing. And I didn't do it, for that, but that was just a repercussion. And I am truly grateful and humbled by the experience. And I would most definitely, do it again if I could. And people ask me, would I? And I would say yes. And my last kidney, if I had to give it away, would be to my son. It is what it is. But this is an experience that I would never forget, and that I always promote. People ask me, yes, do it. No brainer.
That's
Just
right.
do it.
That's right.
Thank you, Sister Nadira. And I like to say, I remember you as a little girl, always coming to your house, your parents' house. And I'm thankful to Allah, you've grown up into a beautiful young lady, Muslim, and a kidney donor. And I appreciate you and thank you for coming on.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
So, Brother Xavier,
Yes, sir.
my closing remark is really directed toward you, and thanking you for this program and the insight that you have provided. Because I'm very humbled by the work that you're putting in, the reinventing of yourself,
Yes, sir.
and what you're doing for 2 communities at this point, brother. Because the sighted community is learning something that they would not have gotten if it were
Yes,
not
sir.
for you and for the work that you have been doing on this platform, brother. I'm very proud of you, brother. You know, you and I have
Thank
worked
you.
together for many, many years, brother.
Yes,
And
sir.
I'm always in awe and humbled by the work that you put in for our nation, brother. And I'm very, very proud of you in the work that you're doing. Brothers and brother and sisters, that we share this bond. I pray that we continue to make progress together as a group. We can exchange numbers offline, and if you ever need my help or support, again, I'm there for you. Praise be to Allah for the opportunity to be here this evening. But again, I'm thankful, really thankful for the opportunity to be on my brother's program. Shout out to brother, I can't call brother's name. May Allah bless me.
Thank you, Brother Jason.
I'm getting old, but this is the thing.
Brother.
Other people have asked me to speak about my life on platforms such as this. And I always refuse because I say I don't think that I have done anything yet to be worthy of giving my testimony like this. But when Brother Xavier asked me, I said I had to show up for my brother. I have to. There's no question about it, because being recognized by X means that you actually have done something. So all praises due to Allah. May Allah continue to bless you and your families. And sister, please send my love to your dad and letting him know what the nation has done for us all in producing a daughter like you for our people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Praise be to Allah. I guess my closing words would be just, again, as everyone has stated, Brother Xavier, thank you so much for
Brother Jason
platform.
Okay.
Posting this platform for us to be able to discuss our journeys and discuss it in the Nation of Islam.
And thank you, brother.
Your teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm thankful that that Brother Xavier opened up this platform for us to be able to discuss. I've been blessed to be on some other shows and some other platforms, which it's meant a lot because the act of kindness and the act of love was shared. But this means a lot to be able to discuss this with family in our bonds that we have. So I like Nadira, my parents, my family have been there. It was my daughter's senior year. She was like, "Mom, I have a volleyball game. You donating the kidney today?" So and 3 days later, I was at her next game. So it's
all right.
Okay.
My life's great. So I'm thankful for my family and family support and the nation, sorority, and everyone else who gave assistance. So I'm thankful for you all because I'm the last one of this group to donate. So if it was you all, I wouldn't have known, that it was something that we could even, consider doing. So I thank you all for that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for the energy. Yes, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you for the invitation for coming on. Brother Lamont?
Oh, yes, sir. Like all else and everyone else, I'm grateful. I'm humbled that you would have me to share what I was able to share in this manner. Thank you so much, Brother Xavier. I've learned much from each and every one of the sisters and the brother. And I feel that there is a unique bond, that exists amongst those of us who have had this particular experience. And I would also definitely have to give thanks to my beloved wife for, being there from the very moment, the very inception and all the way through. And so, it's a beautiful thing. And I want to say this, Brother Xavier, not that you think this, because I know that you don't, but brother, you don't owe me nothing, brother. Nothing at all, brother. Only thing I'm grateful the fact that we are brothers, man.
Yes.
That means the world to me, brother. And I feel that we are closer and stronger as brothers, man. And that's all that I need, brother. And I'm good. So once again, brother, I'm so grateful and thankful to have had the opportunity to be at the right place at the right time and receive the right call to be able to give of myself to you, brother. So I'll leave with that, man. And I thank everyone to be able to share this platform with. And I pray Allah will continue to bless us all, our families, and we remain and stay healthy, and that we can hopefully be of inspiration to someone else who might be in that same position we were once in.
So, Brother Lamont, I said I wasn't gonna be crying.
I'm about to shut the program off now because I don't want no tears running down my eyes. Thank you, brother. And I want to give a special thanks to my wife who put that call out without my knowledge. Because if I did know, I would have, I'd have fought it. So I want to thank her for putting it out there and you responding, brother. Thank you, Sister Lisa, when you watch this show. I love you. Yes. Thank you very much for putting that out there. No, I wouldn't approve, but thank you. So I want to thank all of you for coming on. And I want to thank all those who would watch and would be inspired. Please, when you watch it, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I'd like to thank Sister Nadira, Sister Dawn, Brother Jason, Brother Lamont. Please reach out. We're going to stay in touch, and we're going to do more shows like this to inspire others. You're on my channel, Living Life Without Sight. I appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And Brother Jason,
Yes, ma'am.
Jotty, go ahead and give a few strikes.